analysis of the poem. First of all, a summary. That is, the poem is about an African man who is looking for a room to rent and he finds an advertisement in a newspaper. So that is the settings. Now the ad says that there is no problem with race. That is white or black, it doesn't matter. Now, as the man had bitter experiences with such ads earlier, he makes a telephone call to the landlady from a public telephone booth. He tells the lady that he is a black man and asks if it is acceptable so that he can avoid an unnecessary trip. The lady hesitates for a while and she wants to know if he is completely black or half black. When the man says that he is not completely black because his palms and soles are white, the lady goes silent and hangs the phone, even though the man pleads her to at least meet him in person to see his bottom for herself if he is totally black. So basically, Volshoinka, as an African writer, he had his education in England. So maybe due to any of his personal experiences, maybe that might have inspired him to write this particular poem, Telephone Conversation. Okay, so that is a summary. Now we can see the poem, Telephone Conversation. The price seemed reasonable, location indifferent. The landlady swore she lived off premises. Nothing remained but self confession. Madam, I hate a wasted journey. I am African. So here a black man who is looking for a room for rent finds an offer at a reasonable price in the advertisement and he makes a phone call to the landlady of the property and confesses. So it is like a crime to be a black or an, an African. Okay. So and confesses that he is a black man. The opening line shows that the black man is aware of the double standards. So even though he saw the advertisement and it says that it's okay to be it doesn't matter if it's a white person or a black person, he had lots of bitter experience, so he wants to make sure that this is a real advertisement or it's going to work for him so that he can avoid an unnecessary trip. He makes a phone call to confirm if the room is truly available for a black man. It is also revealed that the black man has bitter experiences in the past. He must have believed the no difference point in the advertisements and must have approached the landowners. They should have refused him after coming to know that he is black. So this basically his experiences that made him to confess. So during those days, was much prevalent, and he doesn't want to waste time and energy on another uh, trip. Okay, so that is the thing. Now, the next one. Silence. So once he confessed, the other end it became silent. Silence transmission of pressurized good breeding. Voice when it came lipstick coated, long gold rolled cigarette holder piped. Caught I was foully. That is, in these lines describe the reaction of the landlady when she hears the confession. Even though she advertised as there is no difference, but in reality she is a racist. When she comes to know that a person is a black, that is the speaker, is a black man, she goes silent. She does not reveal her true dislike and disapproval for black people. The poet says that the landlady is like the so called white people of good breeding. These people call themselves educated and therefore decent. They do not speak out against black people, but they continue to harbor racial prejudice towards black people. The black man can stereotype the white lady just by hearing her voice over the phone. He imagines that her lips must be painted red with lipstick and she must be smoking and using a gold tinted cigarette lighter. The poet reveals that both white and black people show prejudice because they tend to stereotype people. Now, how dark? I had not misheard. Are you light or very dark? Now, in these lines, we can see some of the words are given in capital letter, capitalized. Some others, um, in between this conversation, we can find that some of them are capitalized and others are uh, not in that way. So that means that here the conversation in this dialogue, whatever is being told by this lady, is given in this capitalized form. That indicates the superiority of the white race. Okay, so black button or sorry, how dark? I had not misheard. Are you light or very dark? Button B, button A. Stench of rancid breath of public hide and speak. Red booth, red pillar box, red double tiered omnibus squelching tar. It was real. So the landlady is careful in not using the taboo word black. Instead, she asks an indirect question on the degree of darkness. To the black man, it appears as if he is asked to make a choice. So, as I have already mentioned, the person is standing, this speaker is standing or making the call by through this public booth. So in Britain, it is painted red in color. Now here he can see button A or button B. So there is a choice if he want to stop it or to continue. That is to make choices. Okay, he wonders if he should press button A or button B in the telephone dial pad, much like he would do to choose a language over an automated call. Now, these buttons A and B had to be pressed by the caller in old-fashioned British public pay phone booths and boxes. Now, these lines of the poem, that is telephone conversation, describe the reaction of the black man on hearing the lady's question. He can smell the bad breath of hypocrisy. White people hide their racial discrimination in public, but they practice it in private. So is that is stench of rancid breath of public hide and speak. That is, even though they have this racism, these white people tend to hide it. They are hypocritic in nature. The double standard behavior angers the black man. He sees red in his eyes. So red can be a symbol of anger, or can be a symbol of danger. Okay, so he sees red in his eyes. The telephone booth, the pillars, a bus passing by, all appear red to him. He compares racism with a double-decker omnibus squelching the black tar on the road. Okay, so here he compares racism with an double-tiered omnibus, that is squelch. Squelch means like making a soft squeezing sound of tar. That is the ugliness of racism. Okay, now by ill-mannered, that is here the sentence is that runs on to the next one, that is shamed by ill-mannered silence, surrender, pushed dumbfounded to beg simplification. Considerate she was, wearing the emphasis, are you dark or very light? Revelation came, you mean like plain or milk chocolate? But the black man also agrees that the lady should be considerate polite. So it can be like a sarcasm. Okay, she was considerate of putting the question gently. Instead of asking directly, she puts it on in a polite manner. However, the black man looks at such racial discrimination as oppressing. He is momentarily confused when the landlady asks him for details about his skin color, like, are you dark or very light? Okay, now then, what happens is that at first he does not understand what she means by the question, are you dark? Then he realizes what she is asking. Revelation came. Now suddenly he understood. Okay, what he has to do, or how to react to this lady's questions. He is momentarily confused when the landlady asks him for details about his skin color. So it's a kind of insult. Okay. At first, he does not understand what she means by the question, are you dark? Then he realizes what she is asking. That is, the revelation came. He reformulates her question. So, you mean like plain or milk chocolate? Is that what you want to know? That is the reaction of this man. Now, her accent was clinical, crushing in its light impersonality. Rapidly wavelength adjusted, I choose West African sepia, and as afterthought, down in my passport. So It is easy to imagine a glaring and unkind crushing light in the context of clinical, as in the lights of an operation theater. So this is not a very comfortable situation for that man. But the thing is that even though it is not comfortable, he has to answer this lady, because she is asking such disgusting question that never means that he can keep quiet, because he wants to communicate with her. But the problem is, excuse me. So okay. So the problem is that he doesn't want to give a direct answer to this lady. The reason is simple, because he felt insulted. He felt disgusted because of the hypocrisy, because of the level of racism this lady has. Okay. Now he doesn't want to give a direct answer, so he chose West African sepia, that is a color. Okay, so this West African sepia is a kind of reddish brown hue seen in old monochromatic photographs. So in his passport it is in that way. Okay, so I chose West African sepia, and as afterthought down in my passport. So according to my passport it is West African sepia, the color. Okay, and silence for spectroscopic flight of fancy, till truthfulness clanked her accent hard on the mouthpiece. What's that? Conceding. Don't know what that is. So, this lady doesn't understand what is this West African sepia. So, she asks again, there is a small pause or silence in that moment. The reason is that this lady is trying to understand what type of color is that. Spectroscopic flight of fancy. Spectroscope means, the spectroscope is a device used to break down and separate the light bounced off from an object. Spectrum എന്ന് നമ്മൾ പറയാറില്ല, അത് തന്നെ. അപ്പോൾ ആ ഒരു ലൈറ്റ്, the color is, she is trying to distinguish the color West African sepia, but she doesn't know. So now what she asks, what's that? Conceding, don't know what that is. So he wants to show that this lady is an ignorant racist lady. Okay, now the answer comes like brunette. So here the man says that, but he tells her that he is black indirectly. This expression of the black man reveals how he hesitates to declare himself black, even though he is ready to confess that he is an African. Numerous bitter experiences of racial discrimination must have made the black man wary. Now we can see the reaction to that question. What's that? In order to clear the doubt, he says that like brunette. So what is brunette? That's dark, isn't it? So the lady's reaction is that that's dark, isn't it? So brunette means it's extreme brown, dark brown. Okay. So the why here what happens is that now the man answers, not altogether. Facially I am brunette, but madam, you should see the rest of me. Palm of my hand, soles of my feet are a peroxide blonde. Friction caused foolishly, madam, by sitting down has turned my bottom raven black. One moment, madam, sensing her receiver rearing on the thunderclap about my ears. Madam, I pleaded, wouldn't you rather see for yourself? So now he invites her to see his bottom, to check out the color by herself. So while the black man says that he is not completely black, the landlady willingly calls brunette as dark because it's dark brown. He describes how some of his body parts are not totally black. The black man tries to explain that the palms of his hands and the soles of his feet are not black. That is peroxide blonde. Okay, peroxide blonde is a type of bleached, that people use this particular thing to bleach their hair. Okay, so that is this peroxide blonde, to that color, blonde color. Okay, so as the poem comes to an end, the black man appears to plead for a chance. That is, he asks the landlady to meet him in person before coming to a decision. At that moment, the white lady knows that she is insulted by the African, and she angrily puts the receiver on the thunderclap. Thus, the poem proves that it is the white people who believe in the color prejudice are always insulted. Now, this man doesn't want to directly say or give the gratification to that woman by saying that he is black. What he does is that he says that, why come and see my bottom, so that you can understand the different types of blacks, that you can identify how much black I am, how much dark I am. So that is the thing. So this is a type of sarcasm, or this is a type of satire on racism. Okay. Now that is the line by line analysis meaning of this poem. Now we